They say lightning doesn't strike twice, but in the case of Jan Broberg, the monster was invited back into the house. In part two, we're looking at the second kidnapping, the trial that felt like betrayal, and how Jan Broberg eventually broke the spell of a master manipulator to find her own voice. This is part two of Abducted in Plain Sight, and this is another episode of True Crime and Other Shit. Hi, hello to everybody in the listening world. I'm your girl Cass. This is your boy Eddie, and this is another episode of True Crime and Other Shit. So this is part two. Last week we definitely ran out of time. There was so much crazy shit going on that we literally had no choice but to make a part two. But we also want to get the next case in your face super quickly because it's one that really just doesn't sit right with me. You know, this is the one I was telling y'all about Lake Lanier and how it takes place in Cumming, Georgia. Sorry, Maxie, I hate that place. But yeah, Eddie, do you have anything to say this week before we jump right into it?
I do, but I'm going to wait till the closing statements on it. We're going to start this off
Lord.
and we're going to get right back into the case because we touched on so much and there's so much more that we got to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started.
All right. If you did not listen to part one becomes before two, always and forever. So please go listen to that first one. I'll stop you right here. Go put it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you like to listen to stuff. And you can come back and listen to this one. It's a 2-episode week, y'all. All right. So last time we left off, we did see where Jan believed that she was kidnapped by aliens because that's what Bert told her, is that she was kidnapped by aliens. It was Zeta and Zethra were the name of the aliens, and they told her that she has to mate with her male companion and she needs to have a baby before she's 16. Okay. So if you ever watched the documentary, Bert's brother, Joe, is quite the character. He is hilarious. He's probably one of my favorite people in there. Everybody else I wanted to slap, but Joe seemed to be the only one who had a good head on his shoulders. He's like, yes, I knew my brother was a fucking weirdo. I've always known my brother was a weirdo. And he's like, but my mama said I gotta be nice to him. And you could tell what, Eddie? What?
I didn't like the guy. I don't know. Something about the guy just didn't rub all correctly on me. But
I just like the fact that he knew his brother was a terrible person. But again, back then, they didn't really know or understand. He just knew it wasn't right. I just appreciate that about him. He's like, oh, he had that little girl with him, and I don't know why he would want that, but I guess that's his deal, you know? This is the 70s where people really didn't know what a pedophile was.
I feel it. But let's get into the case, and when we get to him,
Yeah,
and we get further into it,
that.
I'm gonna give you my thoughts on him.
Go ahead.
I was watching that video and I said, yeah, there's definitely more you could have did to prevent. But go ahead.
Okay. So Joe is B's brother, and he clearly hates him. He called and asked, Bert called him and asked him to call Marianne to get written permission for Jan to come back and get married in the States. Apparently they were married in Mexico, but they were not married in the States. And you had to be 12 years old to get married in Mexico, and Jan was 12 at that time. And before y'all start talking shit about Mexico, just know that there are still 34 states in America that still allow child marriage.
Yeah. Then on top of
North
it,
Carolina being included.
yeah, this isn't like, oh yeah, this is the 80s. This is the 70s. This is way back when. So it's not like, oh yeah, they're still doing. I'm not saying that they don't do this today, but it's not like, oh yeah, this was yesterday that they just happened. This is the 70s. A whole lot of LSD was legalized back then, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken?
I don't think it was, like,
But it
legalized, but it
wasn't
was just
like
like,
a
yeah.
restriction on
They
it.
thought,
Like,
like, weed was worse than that.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a weird
So
time.
weird
But,
time.
yeah, the age of
Weird.
consent to get married in North Carolina is still 16 years old, which I you don't need to be getting married at 16.
I remember hearing about that actually. I think one of my
It
friends got married
is.
at 16.
I had somebody at my high school get married at 16.
Yeah.
It was a very weird situation now that I look back on it because I'm like, "You had no business getting
Yeah,
married
I
at
wasn't
16."
surprised. It was like one of those like, "Oh, I'm going to the military," because he was turning 18 and she was 16, so he didn't wanna leave her behind, so, like,
Are
they
they
just
still
got married.
married?
I don't know them like that.
Oh,
So, yeah, it was
okay.
like one of those, like, is rumors that spread through the school because we were like, "Why is she leaving school all of a sudden?" And then they
That's
got pregnant.
weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's just weird to me. I understand, like, especially, like, if you came from a family where your parents got married young, had kids young, all of that, like, I get it, but, like, it's not
I'm about
feel
to say, you
'cause
gotta think
my
that's why, like,
grandma
that was another big thing too, because people definitely got married, like, it's not far removed. I think my grandparents, like, they got married really young too as well.
I know my grandparents on my mom's side, I think that my grandfather was 16 and she was 14 when they got married,
Yeah, like, you see what
and
I'm saying?
on
Like,
my
it's
yeah, my dad's side, I think they had both just turned 18, or maybe my grandma was, like, had just turned 17. I
yeah.
remember because they got married in this sorry, y'all, the allergies are just terrible. I've been puffing the inhaler all day, y'all. I'm just not having a good time.
Mm, mm. This season is not your favorite, is it?
It is not. I'm not
I'm
good,
having a
and, like,
grand time out here, I'm not gonna lie, but
I am not having a good time. Like, I am
it's
having the
okay.
worst time
It's
ever.
okay, you know what I'm saying? Send you a box of Claritin, please, y'all. Go ahead and donate a box
I'm
of
taking
Claritin,
it.
alright?
I'm taking it, and I'm on asthma medication right now, and I'm still not having a good time. I'm probably gonna do a breathing treatment after this, but the show must go on. So,
Well, there it
anyway,
is.
so Joe picked up the phone, ring a ding ding. He called Marianne, and she said, "No, Joe. I don't think I'm gonna be signing that thing to, let my daughter get married to this man when she comes back to the States." So Joe was like, "You know what? Enough's enough. I'm gonna call the FBI." He calls the FBI and he had them tap the phone. So the Mexican police found them and they took Jan and B. They took B to prison. And B is such a conniving little shit that he took his gold ring off and gave it to the officer so he could talk to Jan. And he tells Jan, like, "Yeah, okay, like, just tell your mom and dad that I took you on vacation. I took you too far. I'm sorry, and I should have told them. But don't forget, like, the aliens came and told me about the mission too, and they said that
3
you
things
can't
we
talk
can't
about the
talk
mission.
about.
You can't, yeah. In silence with an adult is dangerous. I will say it until I'm blue in the face. If a child has a secret with an adult, it is not a safe secret.
Yeah.
Now, giving them a cupcake, whatever. And your kid is gonna tell you anyway because they like telling shit like that. But so she said that he can't have like she can't talk about the mission and she couldn't talk to other men, including her dad. And if she broke this rule, then her other sister, Karen, would go blind. That's the youngest sister. And they said that they would take Susan, which is the other sister, middle child, if, you know, that she
Yeah.
couldn't do the mission and complete the mission. So
That was the
basically,
crazy part. He said, "And alright, if you mess up, we gotta start all over again with your other sister."
right.
Like,
And just the mental anguish that that probably took on this 14-year-old girl. We're gonna get into it later, like, of how dangerous that is and her thought process behind it because she wanted to protect her sisters by any means necessary, and the lengths that she was willing to go to were very dramatic, and somebody could have really gotten hurt.
well, not only that, but then also, like, whenever, like well, you're gonna see we're gonna talk about it a little bit later, like, when she was going to her teenage years, it made her disassociate from, like, the whole family because
Mhm.
she
She
got so
became
stuck
miserable.
on this mission. I have to do this
Mhm.
mission, like, what's it called? Religious psychosis. Because really, they
Mhm.
this was a religious. It was pretty much stuck her into a religious psychosis where she was like only focused, because
The mission and
the
nothing else.
mission and like pretty much she started seeing herself as Jesus'
The
mother.
protector, yeah, like the protector of this planet, like, type
Yeah.
deal. But it was wild. So Jan is still believing this, and her parents come to get her from Mexico, and they're saying that they have to get her home. And she's like, "Well, what about B? What about B?" And she's crying because she still thinks that she has to do this mission. And so she's like, "I'm really confused how I'm supposed to do the mission if he's stuck there." But her
Mhm.
parents are like, "Look, B has to figure out his own shit. Like we have to go." So after they got back home, Bob says that, he she just didn't want anything to do with him. He's like, she was always my girl. Like that was definitely a daddy's girl, and she liked to be with him, doing stuff with him, and she just became very cold and distant from her entire family. And Bob says he remembers looking at her, and he said that I think that our problems are far from over, which he
Mhm.
wasn't wrong. So, and Jan tried to get back to normal. She was telling her sisters about all the things that she did in Mexico. She's like, "Oh my God, like we went parasailing, we went on a boat and all this stuff." But she never mentioned the dark side of it and the mission and things like that because she's not allowed to talk about it.
And
They're showing
speaking of
Jan articles, huh?
oh, and I just wanted to go because we talked about the brother as well, and I see that we're getting away from. I wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts on the brother and why I kind of just was
Well, he
like, yeah,
comes
I'm not a fan of
back.
him. Hmm?
He comes back into the story,
Oh, he comes back? Okay, go ahead.
I think.
Yeah, nah, because once he calls the FBI, he's kind of like hands off of it. Like he doesn't really.
No, 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 because there's something else happened. He does come back into the story.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. Let me get back to where I was. So they're showing Jan articles like, "No, Jan, this man kidnapped you. Like, this is what the newspaper is saying. He kidnapped you. That's what it is." Because that's what the FBI ended up having to do with her mom and dad. They were like, "This man kidnapped you or your child, bro. Like, check it out." But Jan was like, "Yeah, no, 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 that wasn't my experience." She's defending her abuser because that's what people do when they're in a vulnerable situation and they have an abuser, is that they will try and defend them by any means necessary. Don't defend
Yeah.
your abuser. Don't defend them. They're not worth it. But so the FBI agent said, stay away from the Bertolds as a whole. Stay away from them. Okay.
Hmm.
He says, don't let your kids play with their kids. Don't be having any type of, family dinners, anything like that. If you see him at church, don't speak to him. Go
Cut
home. Do you think they
communication.
follow
Right.
direction, Eddie?
Not one little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
Because why would they?
Yeah. Exactly.
So on Christmas Eve, Gail slithers her little self over there to speak to Bob, and Gail came over to ask Bob to drop the charges against her husband, and
That
she
was
wanted him to sign the affidavit. And Bob was like, "I can't do that. Like, I really just can't. Like, whatever." And she said, "You are going to sign these papers, or I'm gonna tell them about your little road trip with my husband. Okay, and they gonna find out that you are gay."
also this is how both of them found out that they broke their
Their
fidelity
vows.
to yeah, their
Mhm.
vows to each other. So imagine like you thinking, oh dang, like not only is the person that you had an affair with having an affair with your daughter, but then comes to find out the wife brings it up, hey, look, you don't press charges, or I'm gonna go ahead and tell like actually, if you don't press charges, I'm gonna tell everybody that y'all been both having an affair with this person.
Yeah,
Yes. And that's how you found out that your partner was actually cheating with the same person that you were cheating with. That
that's a
has
hard way to find out. That's really
yeah,
hard.
that has to be the craziest
Oh, yeah,
reverse card I've ever heard in my life.
ain't it? But Bob said that he had to sign the papers because they were going to expose the dirty laundry between Bob and B and their little relationship and Marianne and B. And Marianne felt bad for her husband because she definitely didn't want his side to get out because, you know, back in that day, it was not okay to be gay. So they signed the affidavit and they said that Jan was not taken by force and she was not subjected to any course or I don't know how to say this word because I don't want our video to get suppressed. Any intercourse or
We'll just stay leave it at intercourse.
things, okay, of any kind that her permission and her husband gave them permission to go. So imagine FBI agent Welsh when he sees this shit. He is like, I know the living fuck y'all did not.
Yeah. And also, he probably never found out. Like, I mean, well, of course now he did, but like during the time, he didn't find out why they signed the affidavit. He just like my parents sitting here signed the affidavit. I would have called CPS, but you know, teach his own. Teach his own.
Either way, so the U.S. federal attorney actually calls them and he's like, first of all, y'all motherfuckers tripping. Y'all really are going to sign this affidavit and you are really going to say that your husband gave permission to his 12-year-old daughters to go across state lines with some man?
Which he did, technically.
She told him that they can go horseback riding. They were only supposed to go 30 minutes away.
Oh, yeah, that's right, that's
Okay,
right. And they went
remember,
all the way
they are in
outside.
Idaho. Okay, Idaho is like over here. Mexico is way down here. How y'all get there?
Like,
You
there's
know,
like at least a good 2-3 states in between there.
you know
And
what I'm saying? It's like y'all, you really did the absolute most. Like you did not have to do all this. You went a little too hard in the paint. So they said that they're going to press charges. The U.S. federal attorney, he said, "Fuck
mhm.
y'all, I'm pressing charges." And so B ended up getting out of jail and then he goes to work at his brother's car lot. And Joe said, like, you know, he was a great salesperson. He's like, my brother was just a freaking weirdo. So he's like, I mean, he could sell salt to a slug. He's amazing. And that's probably because he's a master manipulator. So it worked out. Best job ever.
Let
If
me
you're
tell you something.
manipulative, go into sales. You will be
Let
fantastic.
me let me tell you about I forgot what this dude name was. I worked with him back in the car salesman, but he made $10,000 in 1 month based just because that's just how good of a car salesman he was. But when like he tried to teach me how to like he was selling because he was like, I see so much promise in you. When I tell you all he did was just hurl numbers at you, but it made sense so much in your
Mm-hmm.
head that because he was like, I can make you buy a car right now today. And I was like, but I have no reason to buy a car. He said, do you really? Let's test it out.
It's all
But
manipulation. Like,
it's
well,
all about doing
mm-hmm,
it so quickly to not give somebody brain process. And I realized this why he was doing it to me.
mm-hmm,
It's all about speaking so quick, but making it make sense and making them agree to each part of it while
mm-hmm,
while they're doing it. It's like it doesn't give you time to rationalize. Is this actually a rational thought that's going through my head? Because I know most
mm-hmm.
people are like, well, I know how to say no. It's not that easy. It's
It's
psychosis.
not
It's a
that easy.
psychosis
If somebody
treatment to
knows
it.
they know psychology, they know how to get in there and they know
The
how to work
whole
their magic.
process is literally to make you say yes, yes, yes. And then once you get to the end, you have said yes 10 times. Like in most
Mm-hmm,
sales training, they tell you make them say yes 3 times before you jump to the big no. He
mm-hmm,
jumps to I'm gonna make you say yes 10 to 20 times. And then once you have rationalized, like once you pretty much said yes to everything else, now I'm gonna ask you the big question of now doesn't that make sense? And before you can even say, like,
yes. Mm-hmm.
you're already processed to say yes, because you're gonna say yes 10, 20 times. So that's how people get stuck into like a easy buy-in system where it's like when you go out and tell somebody this, they're probably gonna look at you like, oh, that's crazy. And you probably be like, yeah, it was. But while you're going through it, it's not like that because they're a
Mm-hmm.
manipulator and it makes
I've
it
been in that
so
situation before, for sure, with a car salesman. I hate car salesmen, but my last car that I bought years ago, it's about that time to get a new one. But they hate me because I'm sitting there with my little notepad. I'm like, mm-hmm. Yep. What? Okay, say that one more time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're like, whoa, 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 that throws off the whole entire vibe.
No, wait. I got another crazy story to tell you about another manipulator. I wouldn't say manipulator. Manipulator is a very strong word.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say a definitely master salesman. When I worked and when I was working door-to-door sales in California.
I will never that you said about that last episode. I listened to that clip. It's like I almost got kidnapped.
Listen to me. I've never seen this a day in my life. All right, so it was me and another dude, and we were because in door-to-door sales, I'm gonna explain to you how this process goes. In door-to-door sales, they drop you off randomly in a random neighborhood until you go knock on every door, and they
Mm-hmm.
give you an iPad so you can mark like which doors you've already knocked at.
Right.
This, that, third, blah, blah, blah. So, we came across this one door, and remind you, so of course, like if somebody has no soliciting on there, you're supposedly not supposed to go up there, but like some companies will tell you, hey, go get your money, you know? So
Don't do that at
we
my
get to
house.
the point
You
where
can ask
it's
the
like,
Vivint salesman what happened to him.
man, look, so we pretty much we are driving around our XYZ because he's like, all right, right before he drops us off, he's like, I feel like there's not more around. I'm gonna show y'all how to sell. So he drops us off, he gets out with us, and Buddy goes, and I'm talking about he knocks on this door that says no soliciting. And we're like, okay, no, we're not supposed to do this, right? But like, he's like, fuck them. They're not gonna do. Yeah. So he knocks on the door. Boom. Dudes open the door. I'm talking about busting out. Get the on my property.
That's
Fuck
how I
all y'all.
am.
This, that, and the third. I can't stand y'all. Da, 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 and fuck your company. Da, da, da. I heard about y'all. Da, da, da. You know what he does?
Huh.
He says, I understand. You know what? What I'm gonna do. And he goes like this and sits Indian style, like crisscross applesauce in this man's front yard
That's a
and
sales
says,
tactic. That's
I
psychology. He
completely
makes himself
understand, man.
smaller.
You said what?
That was a psychology technique. He makes himself smaller so he doesn't seem as much as a threat.
Exactly, bro.
Master
Within 10 minutes,
manipulator.
do you know that within 10 minutes we were inside this man's house and having him sign a
Mhm.
contract to do like 3 to 5 years of our door security program? I
Mhm.
said, "Bro, what did I just watch?" Because literally,
The
bro, we were
Matrix. That's what
Buddy
you
was
saw.
bro was like I'm talking about we might have to get the cops out here because it's getting escalating to this point. And he pretty much was like, okay, I understand. Actually, let's go inside. Brought this man back from inside the house back to outside the house, sat back in the yard, and had this man signing over the contract as he's sitting crisscross applesauce in his man's front yard. It was crazy to
Mm-mm.
watch, but I'm telling you, some people, they just know what words to say. And to put you in a place of this doesn't make sense, when you say it to somebody else, you're gonna be like, that didn't make sense. That whole scenario just didn't make sense. But I did it. Yeah.
I am that person. I have a no soliciting sign outside my house back when I had my pit bull. He was very reactive, especially to men, and I knew that. And I would say, as solicitors, I'd be like, "Hey, my dog is don't do it. Don't come up here." The dog
Right.
is a little scary. This guy kept like acting like he was trying to get inside the house and push past me. I opened the door and I just let my dog chase after him. Like, don't do me, because he did not like that. And I all the time whenever they come up to my door and I have a no solicitation sign on the door, I'm like, you are about to see this Beretta, so you
Listen,
need to chill out.
I learned how to get into people's house with permission, and it's really the craziest thing in the world. Like, cause it was really like
That's not
they
safe.
what?
That's not
Listen,
safe. That's not
listen,
safe.
listen. Literally,
Eddie, it's
you
not
point at
safe.
the door. You pointed at the door, right? And they told us they.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. We gotta get back to the story too.
Oh,
But
okay. Oh, okay.
yeah,
No. We should probably we get back to the story.
yeah. I'm gonna let you get back to the story on that one. But listen, if you ever want to know how to get into somebody's house being invited in, just let me know. I could tell you and explain.
What in
Go
the
ahead though.
vampire is going on here? What in the
Just.
sinners is okay? All right, okay. Like I'm done. I'm done. Where the hell was I? Shit. Damn it. Okay, they signed the affidavit. So he gets out. He goes to work for his brother's car lot. But every weekend, B is coming back to town in Pocatello, and he's still going to church. He goes to the church with his family, stuff like that. And tell me why the church, you know how they was just against him last episode, right? They was like, that man's a weirdo and you need to stay away. They're hugging him and they said, I know you've been so sick, Bert, and we've been praying for you, really, really praying for you. Okay. Y'all so fake. Anyway, so B is out here writing love letters to Jan while she's still at home, saying imagine how much he loved her and miss her and they knew they were meant for each other. And so Jan is like,
Yeah.
naturally as a child, an impressionable child, especially someone who's like just now hitting puberty, she's probably like, oh my God, I have a man's attention. So she
Not only
starts
that, she
writing
actually
letters
did have a
back.
crush on him too. Like she had a
She
crush on him.
did, because I mean
Yeah.
he's charming, he's fun, and he probably mimicked a lot of the, every girl's like first love according to, Sigmund Freud is her father. And he probably reminded her of her father in a lot of ways. Like he said he was the fun dad, stuff like that. So she's like, that must be what I'm supposed to be looking for in a partner,
That
is
was the thing.
somebody.
And I think that was a
Mhm.
bigger thing. It wasn't just a factor of like, they like how we talked about, like, what I'm saying all like girls will look for people who mirror their father. Well,
Mhm.
he just said, screw the middleman. I am the father. I'm the father that you should be.
Literally. Literally.
Yeah,
He's like, look at me. I'm the captain
I'm the
now.
captain now. Like that's
That's what he
literally what
said.
he did.
Mhm. So she starts responding back to him with these very heartfelt letters, and she's telling her mom, like, Mama, I want to marry B. I want to be with him. Her mom is shocked, but she doesn't understand. But she just got her daughter to start talking to her again for real. So she's like, oh, okay, you wanna marry B. Cool. So spring of 75 rolls around. Bob is calling and telling Marianne, um, not Bob, um,
You talking about B?
B, yes. B is calling Marianne and saying that he's in love with her. Now remember, he was just writing letters to her daughter, and her daughter is talking about how she wants to marry him. But she's telling Marianne that I'm in love with you, and she's like, why don't you go get a divorce, Jan? This isn't making sense. He was trying to get her to leave her husband and marry him. And Marianne ended up sleeping with this mother again.
Because she was in love with him. Like, and
Not the
that was the
studio,
craziest part. That was the craziest part.
the
I
studio, the headphone, because she was.
I've been listening to a lot of Jaheim lately, so
You
there's
have
been a
been
lot
in
of
your
me.
90s era today, sir. I'm gonna
It's
need you to
2000s.
come.
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, Jaheim 2000s.
I have a very unpopular opinion. 2000s R&B is better than 90s R&B.
You can get right the fuck off this damn podcast right now.
Wow. Conversation for some other shit podcast, not right now. However,
Actually, we're gonna debate that after.
we can
I am
actually we
willing.
can do a debate after we do this. We're gonna give a debate on why I say that, and it makes sense. It really genuinely makes sense. But go ahead. Right now, we're gonna continue
But
on
I like
talking about how
both.
she loves B, and it really just
Anyway,
kind of she admitted it, like came onto the screen and said, "Yeah, no, genuinely, I was in love with this man.
right.
I was genuinely in love with this man," and and when we talk about the divorce, because they actually did, like they 100% after the husband found out about all the everything that was going on. Oh wait, did we not get to that point yet? My bad. Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna
continue.
I'm gonna tag you in just a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
So she ended up sleeping with him again, and then B calls Bob to rub it in his face, and I wish I could do like a Biggie Smalls voice right now. Not a Biggie Smalls voice, but a Tupac voice, and that's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. Get money.
It's only funny because he is big.
That's right.
Tommy's big.
He is a little chunky. So that's what I imagine he actually said, even though he probably didn't say that. So, but the affair lasted 8 months. They slept together 11 times, and he visited Jan 9 of those times while they were sleeping together. So I'm a tag team you in. Go ahead and talk about the divorce, Eddie.
So, and that's the only reason. Like when we talk about master manipulator, he didn't sleep with Jan because he genuinely loved. I'm not Jan. I'm sorry.
Marianne.
What? Hmm?
Marianne.
Marianne, yeah, he didn't sleep
Mhm.
with Marianne because he loved her. No, he needed he needed a reason for Bob to pretty much divorce his wife, and he said,
Mhm.
"This is what's going to work." Like if I pretty much either A is I'm still making your wife cheat, or B, I can still show that, hey, look, I can get next to your daughter even after all this craziness that's going on. Because I think they were at this point they were separated, or they
They were
were
on their
like
way to
they
separation.
were on their way to separation. So now,
Mhm.
but it was kind of like a, oh yeah, we're just living in separate houses. It wasn't full on, oh, they're talking about divorce. They just at this point, they're just like, you know what, we need to separate because I got it. Let's go to our separate corners, figure out what the hell is going on. Respectfully, understand.
Yeah, they were
So
heading towards the separation, and he actually found out about the affair, and then he served Marianne with divorce papers. He took the kids and they went and stayed in a hotel and let her collect all of her belongings so she could go get an apartment
he,
because he was like, yeah.
you
And
know.
B actually called him and was like, you're about to lose your wife and kids. And he was just like, fuck
Oh,
if I am.
I already done. He said I picked everything up, and he said it was the saddest day of his life. Where I mean, which I can imagine. Like for real. Let's think about it. You really saying, you know what? I have to throw away my whole life. Especially back then, marriage was like pretty much the main goal. So imagine you finally get married, you finally hit life's full objective at this time, and then all of a sudden now you're just like, yeah, I got to dismantle all this because my life is going crazy. So he picks up his daughters, take them to a diner while his wife is getting served divorce papers at the same
Mhm.
time and pretty much trying to like eat his way through that process, but like also life is pretty much at the height of turmoil. It's a crazy
That's
world that we live in. But he
turmoil
had
was
to
like an
do what he had
understatement.
to do. I give him that. He did what he had to
He
do.
did what he finally bossed up here and was like, look, to protect my kids, he's like, I'll do whatever it takes. Like, I'm not letting this shit happen. Like, he finally bossed up and was like, okay, cool, this is what it's
And
gonna
you
be.
know what? He needed to do it
Hmm.
because you know what his wife did after that? She finally grew some brain cells in there and it started finally
Mm-hmm.
clicking. Hold on, I'm about to lose my husband and my kids. Because of course he was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not letting you get like no custody of these kids.
Oh, my intrusive thoughts almost slipped out.
Let me hear it.
You know the
Let
New
him out.
Orleans. No, the New
Free him.
Orleans. It was just a song, you know. It was slow motion by Juvenile. One of these
What?
hoes fell in love without outside dick. Them outside dick keep them hoes sick. Like,
Yeah, we're clipping that. You're
you
going
said
on.
cut that out.
You're going on TikTok, buddy. You're going on TikTok.
Oh,
That's
that's what happened. That's what had
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Like, Juvenile ain't told no lie.
He did.
Not now, not ever. Okay.
You know what's worse? The context is right there. It's just they didn't know that it was gonna be for that scenario. I know
Okay.
you were not like, dang.
Juvenile, look, predicting the future. Go Juvie. So that's my Juvie. If you really, into the bounce music, you know what that is. But anyway, so Marianne gets the divorce papers and she realizes that this is getting in the way of her marriage. So Berchtold went to court and he actually pled guilty and he did his 5-year sentence. But listen how fucked up this is. He did not sit for 5 years
Oh,
because of good behavior and the master manipulator that he is. He got his sentence reduced down to 45 days. And he had 3 months to report to jail. So guess what he's doing? Master manipulator, getting a master plan. So during this time, he moved to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and he bought a family fun center. And why he did that? Probably access to more kids. I don't think that Jan was his only victim,
no,
but
I
I
about to say
think,
it came out during the case. There were 6 other women that came out and said that that they were molested by him.
oh, I don't think I saw that part. But
No,
I know
it's
that like
not in
there
the
were other
movies.
people who
It's
he tried, but he never got a hold of.
I can't remember if it was attempted. I think they like whenever she pretty much went to testify, there were 6 I know there were 6 other women that came
Mm.
forward to say that he either did or tried to. Because I read it in an article. I forgot which article it was, but I read in an article that when I was first started looking up the case before I watched the video to kind of like get some background information. That's when I saw that it was 6 other women that also came forward too.
Mm, interesting.
So
But
for me, the factor that 6 other women came forward and he only served 45 days is
it's
crazy.
disgusting.
Just
Yeah.
because he pled guilty.
Mhm. And he had good behavior, they said. Intrusive thoughts, zipping those back up. So Jan wanted to work there for the summer, but her mom was like, no. And then so she asked her dad and she started begging her dad, and they were like, no, little
No.
girl, have you lost your damn mind? No, absolutely. So Jan just became miserable, and she was like, you know what? I'm gonna make everybody's life hell. So B called and said, Jan is coming to Jackson Hole, and she said she is gonna hitchhike if you don't let her go. And so Marianne is like, oh, well, I don't want her to hitchhike. That's like super dangerous, back manipulating and stuff like that. Why they're even talking to him, I have no fucking clue. But whatever. So Marianne ended up buying a plane ticket and sent her daughter to Jackson Hole to be with her abuser. And Bob was so fucking mad because he didn't know that she did that.
No.
He was livid.
And again,
And
this goes
Jan,
into why I said she shouldn't even. I I would have gone ahead with the divorce papers, and I would have
That
made sure
that
you
that
didn't
was
go
my
through that
final
shit.
straw. That would have been my final straw. It's like, you keep putting my child at risk. Clearly, you want to put her at risk. You're an accomplice at this point. Me and my children know. I'm about to go get that other one, and we gone.
And we never
And
really talked about the wife. We never
who,
really talked
Gail?
about the wife. Yeah, huh?
Oh, Gail?
Mm-hmm.
Gail's just a little snake in the grass. I think I've said that a couple of times because she's over here supporting it, and she's just basically like, as long as he stays away from me and my kids, I don't care.
That's what I was
Which
about to say.
makes
I
me think
wonder what he actually had on her, because I don't knowing that he's a manipulator is not just as simple as, oh yeah,
she
she's
might have been
just.
involved.
In what ways are you like? Are you saying like a victim involved, or I feel like he just had something on her, like he
Like
already
on
had
her, like
something.
she helped.
I don't feel like it was like a willingly help though. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know what he had on her, but I feel like it was something that he had. Like the same way that he pretty much had the pretty much like the affair over Bob and Marianne, he had
Hmm.
something like that over his wife. I just wonder what it was. Like that would be one of the deepest things I'll always be like in my mind. Like,
You know
what did
that
he
she's
have
gonna
over
take it
you
to the
to?
grave because I think he's dead too.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I think he's dead,
Oh
and
yeah, he's
if
dead.
he's still alive, I saw that Marianne passed away. Like I said, back in December last
Yeah.
year on New Year's Eve. It, random. This reminds me of like New Year's Day. I think it was like 2023, where freaking no, it was New Year's Eve when Betty White just kicked the bucket like that. I was like, girl, how dare you? I was in Colombia then. I remember that very well because I'm like getting ready to go party and have the night of my life. And then Betty White just dies like that. That was my favorite Golden Girl besides Blanche Devereaux. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm about to say that's because you felt. Yeah, she gives a lot of your aura. That's why.
who?
But Blanche, if I'm thinking about the right one.
That is so mean. Blanche was a hoe.
I ain't call you a hoe. I ain't call you a hoe. But I'm saying
I'm
that you
gonna
have that
drive over
aura.
here right now. I
That's what
swear
I'm
to
saying. Like, you gotta throw
God.
your headphones
I'm,
off. I'm not saying you're a hoe, but
I'm on
you
my
have very
business
much
too
a lot
much
of
to be
her
a hoe.
mannerisms. Her mannerisms, like her like
Oh, the Southern Belle, like, oh, I have a
yeah,
gentleman caller.
yeah, yeah.
In that regard, yes, but not Jan, Blanche was definitely a hoeing. She was sleeping with
I mean,
everybody, man, child.
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like I am all for a woman being very liberated. So I'm just like I didn't see nothing wrong with it. You feel me? Like, I was like, you know,
Ladies, this is
That's
why
just
we
me though.
allow
That's
well,
just
this
me.
is why we allow Eddie to have a microphone because he is not red pill content. So,
Nah,
everybody's like the men can't have microphone. Eddie can keep his microphone. He's been checked.
I believe everybody should live their life. Everybody should live their life.
I concur.
Yeah.
But back to the case because we're never going to finish it at this rate. So Jan stayed in Jackson Hole for about 2 weeks. During those 2 weeks, B tells her that Gail and him are finally getting a divorce and they can get married to complete the mission. All the while, Marianne is saying that she just, wants her daughter back and he just simply will not give her back. So Joe, Bert's brother, said, little girl, you need to go the hell home. Your mama keep calling here and cussing me out. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but you can't look, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. Cause he was tired of getting cussed out by Marianne. And Joe was like, I just didn't really understand. Like, I saw them together and they seemed to be so happy. And he kept saying, like, I don't understand how you could be happy with a little girl. Like, I'm not understanding. Like, he would always tell Bert, like, I'm really just not fucking understanding, but whatever. And you said something earlier about how Joe always knew his brother was weird. What was that?
No, so and this is where it's kind of like I really can't, cause like, hear me out. I genuinely don't feel like he felt how he did on the video, like on the documentary. Like I feel like now that you know how when you got a camera in your face and now all of a sudden you kind of switch up and you kind of, I feel like it was one of those because
You
like
think he switched
it's
his
a
personality up?
disingenuine. What everything he was saying was disingenuous. It just didn't make sense because first of all he says, "Oh yeah, my brother, I know he was like that," and X Y Z. He been like that since and he knew his brother was gay. So he knew his brother was gay. He said, "Yeah, we been knew he was gay." That didn't surprise me. And plus, I been knew he was what's his name because he kept messing with our sister. So it's kind of like I feel like you like what you just said. Pretty much the wife was doing, enabling. I feel like he was enabling, but now the camera in his face, he don't want a bad light behind him, so now he's trying to switch up. Oh yeah, like I would never. I always told him that this, when genuinely, I feel like he just genuinely didn't care. Like he genuinely was like, that's not
Fair
me.
enough.
Like I'm not saying he was
Yeah,
telling him,
like
oh
it's
yeah,
not
I
my circus,
approve.
not my monkeys type shit.
That type deal.
Yeah,
Like okay, like you know what I'm
I
saying?
can see that.
Yeah, like that's pretty much what I'm saying. He's like how he was on the show where he's like, oh, I was just disgusted. I think you just genuinely didn't give a fuck. Like, in my
Yeah.
honest opinion, you just like, okay, that's on him.
So Jan was like, so no, B called Marianne and was like, Jan said that she would rather kill herself than go home. And I don't know what to do. She's just not wanting to go home. And Joe said, fuck all that. He put her on a plane to Salt Lake so her mama could go meet her in Salt Lake. He's like, come get your child, Marianne. Get off my ass. Okay. I don't want this little girl in my home no more. He sent her right the fuck home. So B is calling and says like he wants to take her again and he's going to take her and they're never going to see Jan again. And Marianne was like, please just leave us alone. Like this has been a point of contingency for years now. Like just leave us alone.
Mhm.
And the result of them going back and forth and arguing on the phone was the result of him kidnapping her another time. So this is August 17th of 1976. Marianne is waking up the house for breakfast, and I miss that about like being younger, like on Saturday mornings or wherever when your parents will wake you up for breakfast. My grandma always did it. She called it the reveille. It was it
Mm.
was fun. But yeah, it was annoying too, but it was fun. But Bob would always play the piano to try and wake up the girls because the piano sat on top of their room. So there was just no way they could ignore it. The vibrations are going to go through the walls. He's playing piano and the other girls comes up, but he doesn't see Jan and he's like, well, she's probably being a brat. So he gets down there and he sees a note on her bed saying that she's left with B and they're not coming back until they accept her. So B called that afternoon and told Marianne he talked to Jan, but he just didn't know where she was. So Welsh said he was not notified of the disappearance until 2 weeks after the fact. B told Welsh that he had no clue where she was, but Welsh was like, "I'm not fucking stupid. I know you know exactly where she is." And the fact that he's over here like, "Oh, how can I help? What can I do?" Sir, you're the problem. Again, the call is coming from inside the house, sweetheart. You're the problem. And so like he calls so there's a week before B was supposed to go to jail because remember he's supposed to be doing his little 45 days in prison or whatever.
Yep.
So right before that 45 days gets reduced again to 10 days in prison due to good behavior because they haven't got wind that girl is missing again. So
Yeah.
he gets 10 days. But he gets her out of that home and he moves into his motorhome, and now nobody knows where either of them are because he's living in a motorhome. He can just drive wherever, you know. So B called Marianne saying that he spoke to her, and she said that your child is just out here doing all these crazy things. Like she's out here prostituting and stealing, and this continued for like 3 months. He's like, I asked her how she's getting her money, and she said hard. And I'm like, a child did not say that. Eddie, Eddie, this is serious. Eddie, be serious.
Because it was, I don't know what. I heard that before. I just forgot where I heard that before at.
On the documentary.
No, somebody else had said something like that too. And I feel like it was a comedian. And
it was from like a movie or something. Like,
yes, bro. I'm like, bro, I heard it before, bro. That's my
get
first
that
time
money
hearing that.
hard. Like
In that same tone. That's what it wasn't the fact of this is going on in the scenario. It's the fact of like I heard it before in a comical way. So it took it
yeah.
back. Yeah, no, it's not this. Go ahead though.
But so B starts getting suspicious about the family because, you know, the FBI did hook up a recording device to their home. And he's like, Marianne, you're fucking with me and I don't like it. And I swear to God, I will kill you if I find out that you up here fucking around and doing this and trying to get me caught or whatever. And she was like, whatever, I have brothers that'll kill you. But, you know, they just going back and forth talking shit. Anyways, 90 days later, the FBI finds B and they do a surveillance on him, and they notice that they had pictures of Jan all over his little trailer. And the thing is like one of these pictures is a little disturbing. It seems innocent in theory, but if you think about it as through Bert's mind, it's really gross. It's Jan, and she's very young in this picture, and she has on this little white dress, almost like a communion dress. And it looks like she's going to church. She has little bobby socks on, and you can see that she was trying to avoid having her picture taken, so she kicks her leg up in the air, and you can see up her dress a little bit. She has on like shorts or whatever. You can't really see anything. I can't remember if she had on shorts or if like you just couldn't see it, but weird. But he had that picture, and it was big in his trailer, and that's disgusting.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like the Marilyn Monroe. Like you know how the Marilyn Monroe picture is where she's trying to hold down her dress. Yeah, that one is pretty much in the same provocative.
Yeah, it was very provocative, especially for the time. Yeah. So 102 days later, agents watch B walk up to a gas station, and he uses one of the gas station phones, and he makes a call for about 12 minutes. And they're like, that's odd. So the phone book was left open, and they saw the number for a Catholic girls' school in it. They decide to call and ask for Jan Broberg. They said that, well, there isn't anyone here by that name, and it's because she was enrolled under the name Jan Tolber. Real clever. So B had kidnapped her and took her to Pasadena and enrolled her into a school. He made up this whole stupid story about him being a CIA agent who escaped through who escaped Lebanon. And if you guys remember in history, there was a Lebanon crisis going on at that time. Look it up. So he goes through this whole story about how her mom was killed, and he's trying to protect her. So if anyone calls the school looking for her, they are a bad guy, and you guys need to protect my daughter. I'm trusting you. I'll come and visit her on the weekends, all of this stuff. So the FBI comes along and they take B back to jail because number one, he violated probation because he went to Pasadena several times. And so Jan is taken back home again, and she's pissed about it, and she ignores everyone and refuses to talk to everyone. So this is where things start to kind of change for the better. 38 days later, Bob gets a call in the middle of the night, and one of his employees says that the store was on fire. And he says, I knew that Berchtold was behind it, but Bob wasn't bothered. He said, whatever, I'll rebuild. They did find out that B did pay someone to burn it down. And just think about like Jan's psyche at this moment, because remember, she's still like, if you talk to other men, bad things are going to happen. If you do anything to divert from the mission, bad things are going to happen. So she's probably thinking that this is her fault. But, Bob is like, look, I don't care about this thing burning down. Like, I have my family right here, and that's all I need. But she's still not really sold on this idea. But B
She's
keeps
only
saying,
like 14 or 15 at this time. It's
yeah, so
still
she's still
13.
young. Yeah, I think
She
yeah,
was
she's like
14.
14. She's 14 at this time.
Because 13 is where she first, like, she got kidnapped the second time. So I think she's like 14 here.
Yeah, the first time she got kidnapped, she was 12. That's when they got married. And then it was 1976 here. So she's like 14 probably.
Yeah.
So, and this poor girl, she's been through so much. She's so young. So, but B keeps skating out on charges, and because the Brobergs didn't want to admit their sexual relationships with B, so he keeps like getting out all of these little loopholes and stuff. Everything they throw at him just won't stick, and that's the reason why. So B is then ordered to go to a mental health facility. He gets out about 6 months later because he's a master manipulator. And B keeps making up these stories about how he was sexually abused as a child, which was not true. His brother was like, that's not true. It was him. He was the abuser. I
Yeah.
mean, I do believe that maybe once it was, but as frequent as he said it wasn't happening. He was the aggressor at that point. So Jan is starting to get older, and this is where like the site, like everything just kind of comes together. So Jan is getting older, and she's having experiences, to kind of, you got to go through different experiences to become an adult. So she went off to drama camp. I think she went to drama camp in like New York or something like that. And a
Mhm.
boy that had a crush on her bought her an ice cream, and she saw the ice cream and she freaked out and had a panic attack and called her mom. And her mom was like, oh, don't worry about it. Her mom's not thinking this way because she still doesn't know about
Understand.
the mission and stuff. So she's like, don't worry about it, and it's fine. Like it doesn't matter. And then she says, well, I think the dogs aren't doing too well. Just trying to get her mind off of it. She's like, the dogs aren't doing too well today. I think I fed them something bad. And she starts crying because she's like, oh shit, the aliens are about to, you
Yeah,
know.
it's like that's the reason why, because I got this ice cream is the reason why the dogs are feeling bad. So if I go any further, it's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, and she starts crying and having a panic attack. She hangs up with her mom. And Marianne was like, that's so strange. Why was she so bothered by that? Like, I don't get it. But she's like, well, let me just call her the next day. And she calls her and she says, hey, Jan, I just want to let you know that the dogs are fine, honey. You don't have to worry about them. They're fine. I just gave them something bad. It was my fault. I'm sorry. And then Jan had a realization that maybe everything he said was
Made up.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on her 16th birthday, she realized that she was fine and nothing bad was going to happen. She said she was going to go as far to kill her sister and kill herself if her sister did not want to do the mission. if she failed the mission. So she said that she was going to get a gun and kill them both. And that's why I said, like, telling kids things like that, like, they, like, have the ability to catastrophize things and make them way bigger than what they are. Imagine if she was able to get a hold of the gun and they would have had this conversation. They both could have been dead, you know? So, but she was scared to tell about anyone about it before. But she started talking to her sister about it, and they were like, "Bro, you have to tell mom." So on her 16th birthday, they had a whole mental breakdown in the living room where Jan is telling them about everything, and she was starting to realize that she was lied to and brainwashed and things like that. And Marianne said it took days for them to calm her down because she was living in fear since she was 12 about this shit, and everything just came to a head at that moment. But this ended up leading to Marianne writing everything down because she was like, she was just doing it as a mental note to herself, but then it became a book, and that book is called Stolen Innocence, if you guys want to check it out. And that's that.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's
Oh,
not.
you the court case, the case.
No, bro,
Wait,
this man. So this also, I'm gonna tell you like pretty much what happens after this, right? So this man, every time that she goes on tour,
oh,
he
he was
then
showing up.
yes, he showed up
Yes,
at
I'm
every
sorry.
book release. He showed up at everything. And then he tried to file a court case against her, saying it was
Mhm.
defamation
Like
of character
slander,
against
yeah.
him because he couldn't no longer pretty much get a job, couldn't get anything. Like he, and that's what,
And
like,
why do you think that is, sir?
so pretty much his life turned to shit. And because his life turned to shit, because she wrote that book and everything came out, and now he can't get anywhere. He committed suicide in I think 2005. So that's pretty much how his life ended.
Yeah.
So that's the conclusion of like Mr. B and what happened. So yeah, he just started harassing her and they tried to like get her, like I think it was just like they're just like just simply leave me alone type deal. He just
Mhm.
couldn't. He was so fixated on her
Mhm.
that it just turned to like even more harassment to where they had to try to file I think a restraining order. And then I don't even think the restraining order went through. I can't remember if it did or it didn't. But then he tried to file like a counter sue
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
um
I saw that
because his
too.
name was in the book and stuff like that. And then that's when I think like pretty much he just hit nail over tail. He committed suicide in 2005 by taking pills, a bunch of pills.
Mm. Oh, well,
So yeah.
don't you just love when the trash takes itself out, huh? Y'all know how I feel about P files. I believe that they cannot recover, and I think that they all need to be right between the eyes. Just saying. It's how I feel. There's this girl was listening to on like a podcast or whatever, and she was like a psychoanalyst, and
Mhm.
she believes the same thing. And I was like, seeing that, like working in criminal justice, like seeing that and
Yeah.
seeing them and the way they work and the way their minds work and think, I was like, oh no, that's a sick puppy. That thing needs to be put down.
Like when we
So
talking about the ones that assault like the 5-year-old, 8-year-olds, 13-year-olds, yes, most
newborns.
definitely. I forget about the newborns too, because I forget people
It
actually are
happens a
that sick to
lot
actually do that.
more than we would like to discuss. It's very uncomfortable to think about. I understand that, and
Yeah,
I'm sorry for anybody who's now
yeah,
have that in their head because that's not what I wanted to do, but put them down. Put them down. Shotgun. Boom.
yeah. And actually, the now this is a very
We don't
controversial.
condone gun
This
violence on this show. We don't condone gun violence unless they're against pedophiles. Thank you.
so this is where it kind of get controversial because there has actually been legislation that talks about um pretty much what's it called when you pretty much line somebody up and shoot them for pedophiles in America.
Firing squad.
Firing squad. So there has been
Mhm.
legislation that has been talking about firing squad for pedophiles.
I
Which
agree with that.
here's where it gets tricky because I know how America works. What we have to also take into account is people that are lied to with the ages. So the false, like let's say
No, I mean, if it's something crazy, you
it
know what I'm
doesn't
saying?
work like that with the law.
Undisputable evidence.
Nah,
Like,
and see, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't work like that with the law because I read a book. It was called where it was a prosecutor, and genuinely, it was I think a kid who was like 20 years old or something like that. He was a custodian at like one of the stores that was next door, and the girl would leave high school, come over there and flirt. So they were flirting, thinking that oh okay, like oh she's telling him like, "Oh yeah, like I'm 19, da da da. I go here, this, that, and the third." And then the parents go ahead and get his information, come to the school because they're like, "What? My child is da da da." And she pretty much tells the prosecutor like, "No, I did, I lied, da da da, this, that, and third." But they still filed charges against him. He had to register as a sex offender, and in those cases, he was still going to the firing squad. So it's like it's you see what I'm saying? It's tricky on
mhm,
stuff where we have to kinda bringing, like, everything into consideration. But do I feel like when it comes to cases where it's like, "Oh, yeah, them 13-year-olds and XYZ, we need to go ahead and get life."
yeah,
Like, life. Like, there's not really like, you can come back from, like, those type of cases. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
that's what I'm pretty much trying to say. Like, life is definitely something, but yeah, that's pretty much it. But that's
I
my
understand that. Like the whole thing, I remember when I first got to undergrad, I had a professor and she was like, "Do you believe in the death penalty?" And when I first started, I was like, "No." Then she'll ask you every year. It's like, "Do you still believe in the death penalty?" And I'm like, "No." By the time I was graduating, I was like, "Yup."
Really?
Yes, on certain situations I definitely agree with the death penalty. Um I think that certain people should just be put to death. If there's undisputable evidence that you've done something heinous, you need to be put down.
I can
And I
see it.
probably will catch heat for this, but like
I mean, we both
I'm
would like, don't get me wrong, we both would catch heat for our own standpoints because, of course, everybody lives on two radical sides.
mhm.
You'll always have two radical sides of things. My viewpoint of it is I look at it from not just okay, the easy nail to shut cases, but
Yeah.
the same principles that we make for one case, the ones that are grayscaled will also fall under those that okay, da da da. Because prime example, um, the case that we talked about with the lady who breastfed, and it's a
Tiffany
second
Woods.
degree murder charge. Where like to us, we're
That
like that.
no.
You see what I'm saying?
But
And
I'm
those
not saying in every
proceedings.
because every murder case isn't a put to death case.
But no, what I'm saying is, prime example is like once that ruling comes into effect, especially in the justice system we have, where people that are th- we don't have a fair enough justice system to where we can
Mhm.
implement stuff
Now
like
that I
that.
can agree with. Our justice system
Yeah, like
definitely
our
does need
justice
a lot
system
of
is
work.
not fair enough to be able to
Mhm.
implement harsh punishments where you can bring somebody back. I've heard about too many cases where people are like, oh yeah, like we're gonna give them death penalty. Then turns out, oops, it won't even
They were innocent. Yeah.
yeah,
That's also like a problem with the death penalty. Um Also, quick question. Tell me what you think about this. So, there is a guy who was put to death by lethal injection and the lethal injection failed. Should he be released from prison?
technically, constitutionally, it should be.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, I mean, he said they would be put to death. He was put to death. It just didn't work. He
Well,
came back on the table. He was
not only
out
that,
and then
his
he
lawyer
came
his
back.
lawyer could argue, especially if it's like his if he depend and this is where it comes back to depending on how good of a lawyer you got. Because his
Mhm.
lawyer could argue simple things of like, hey, look, no, this man went through the strenuous like because technically constitution, we can't put anybody to death through harsh or what is it like
Cruel and unusual.
cruel and unusual punishment.
Mhm.
His
That was
lawyer
cruel and
can come in and say
unusual.
that is cruel to go ahead and put him through a whole death
A
sentence, not
botched
only
lethal
waiting for it,
injection?
and then you actually put him on a lethal injection, not saying that it was actually painful, not even counting that it was painful. Like he low key could get off on that. And it's like, yeah, Like,
Yeah, I think that one
is this worse
is
or
a
worse?
little interesting. And lastly, so I did look up to see what states still have firing squad. So in Idaho, where this case took place, they definitely did have a firing
Fire
squad.
squad.
It definitely could have been used. Mississippi still has a firing squad. They use it as an
Well,
alternative because most people are afraid of the lethal injection because it can be botched. But firing squad is rarely
they can
botched.
get
There,
botched.
yeah, you
You got to
got
turn
like,
Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese, buddy. That's the botch. That's the botchness.
yeah, like, the five
Yeah, we gonna
sharpshooters
come back.
blanks except for one actual bullet. You know, like
Mm.
you you're not gonna miss usually. The sharpshooters don't really miss, but Oklahoma also has it as a backup method of or if lethal
That method
injection is
actually,
unavailable, huh?
that method is actually type crazy. Like
What?
to
Five
like
blanks,
the whole cycle
one real
behind the
shooter.
the firing squad. So like how they do it, because I read up
Mm-hmm.
on it a little bit, is like all of them when we talk about like the blaze. So for those that don't know, is where it'd be five of them. All so consciously they don't live with, oh yeah, I'm just killing
I
people.
killed that person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they don't consciously live with that. They'll all have blanks inside their guns, and nobody knows which gun actually has a real bullet. So and they
Mhm.
all fire at the same time, so they don't know which gun actually killed them. So they can all sleep at
Mhm.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South Carolina
Actually, yeah, I know that one
still
does.
got
I know they
firing
do.
squad.
They, I'm not surprised by
In
them. Actually,
right.
that's what I want to say at the beginning, where you're like, Eddie, do you have any like thoughts? So South Carolina currently, South Carolina State University at HBCU is currently going through the whole
Oh yeah.
commencement speaker. And
I looked at that right before we hopped on. Who was the commencement speaker?
the commencement speaker was the lieutenant governor, which is pretty much like the vice president for the state. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's the vice president for the governor. If you don't know what a lieutenant governor is, like there's a governor,
Mhm.
there's a lieutenant governor. So she comes out, she's supposed to come out, but she's very pro-Trump to the factor of like every policy that he has, she's agreed with, she goes with without a doubt.
That's what I was saying. I
Um,
was like,
the
that
the
lady is not
erase
well liked.
she wants to erase DEI. She approves of ICE
She wants to
bringing
get
in
rid of
ICE camps into.
HBCUs.
Hmm?
She wants to get rid of HBCUs.
So no, and I mean, well, in her mind, she
That's
says that. I mean, I ain't gonna say, you know what I'm saying. I only say what people actually say out their mouth. But I mean, of course, yeah. But she says that, oh yeah, Trump has pushed some of the biggest initiatives for HBCUs, XYZ, and XYZ. So pretty much the students come out and say, yeah, we don't want her. She does not exemplify anything that we are
that's South Carolina
morally
State.
behind.
Mm-mm.
So shout out to them. We want to give a big shout out to South Carolina State University student
Yeah,
body
way to push
that's
back,
going through
y'all.
that.
Y'all know what
Yeah,
you want to see at your graduation. You've waited 4 long years for this, and you need to make it count, and it needs to be right, and it needs to feel good to you. It doesn't matter what that lady thinks. It doesn't matter what the dean, the chancellor says. It does not matter. It matters what you feel. So, congratulations to y'all for actually standing up for yourselves. That's big.
yeah. So that's my shout out to them guys. And that's all I got for today.
That's all I got too. I guess we will be back with another episode soon. And we will be bringing you the Tamala Horsford case. Anything else, Eddie?
Nope, that's it. We good to go.
All right. You guys have a good night, and we will see you soon.
Mm.